just really excited to be introducing our first speaker for today, Suzanne Ross. Suzanne has an amazing story because she was actually in corporate America and then had an awakening and has since then dedicated her whole life to the awakening and ascension of humanity through her books, services, TV network, radio shows, and many, many events. She's the author of the Up trilogy, Wake Up, Rise Up, and Lighten Up. She's the executive producer of sci-fi.tv, and she hosts the annual Sedona Ascension Conference, which is a huge event happening in Sedona in March, and we invite all of you to join us. There's going to be incredible people, everyone from Paul Selig, James Von Prague, George Norrie attending. Portal to Ascension is the main sponsor, and everyone you see here hosting, we're all going to be there together. So it's going to be an amazing event. And Suzanne also guides celebrity tours and spiritual journeys into the Red Rocks Vortex sites of Sedona. And she's such an incredible healer, teacher, and guide. And I just have to say, last night, I actually had a dream where someone cut off my hair. And I look like a boy. And I was running around screaming at this woman. I was like, you cut off my hair, you cut off my hair. And I was so upset. And suddenly Suzanne Ross appeared and she was like, don't worry. She's like, I can help you. I can help fix your hair. And then Suzanne fixed my hair. And I was just so happy and overjoyed. And, for me, that dream just shows that, we're all working at so many different levels on so many dimensional realities. And Suzanne is there supporting us and supporting me. So thank you, Suzanne, for all of your support in the ascension of humanity. We really appreciate you. And thank you for saving my hair last night.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, hair is like antennas, right? And there's cultures that specifically don't cut their hair for that reason. Right. So
exactly.
You can't cut your antennas short.
So you're supporting me. You're like, don't worry, I've got you. So thank you for that.
I love it. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for inviting me to be part of this extraordinary conference, Portal to Ascension. I feel very called to be one of those heralding humanity through the portal of ascension. And so very much appreciate any opportunity I get to activate the dormant DNA of our beautiful brothers and sisters who are being called through that portal of ascension, to educate seekers on how to enter the portal, how to elevate their consciousness, how to become more advanced and evolved. And this is all to enhance their experiences of life and also giving them the opportunity to enhance others' lives as well, so we can all come together to co-create heaven on earth. I'm going to screen share because I have some beautiful images that I want to share with you in a PowerPoint. And I'm guessing I'm going until 11, so I will keep track of the time. I'm not sure why my PowerPoint's not opening here. Maybe it's just taking a second. Oh, it looks like it's bouncing, so it'll open momentarily. And so a concept that I have been exploring here in the past several months is this concept of virtuality. This idea that we are, as eternal souls or as our source selves, playing a virtual reality game with all of our avatars dispersed throughout this space-time game, if you will. And why is that important to know right now? I feel it's important because it allows us the opportunity to communicate with our source self, who is projecting all of these avatars of our multidimensional fractals into all these different timelines and dimensions. That is important for us to be able to communicate with our source self, who is projecting us and is creating the realities that we are being presented with. with the ability to communicate directly with our source self or our eternal soul, if you will, then we can co-create the outcomes that we most wish to experience. So let me try to create a slideshow here. I'm clicking on view. And with the view, I should be able to create a slideshow. Slide master. Sorry about that. That's not it. Let me go back to home. Sometimes it's interesting how you go to use a particular PowerPoint and it's not quite working, and it always makes me wonder, like, am I meant to be using this, or let's just use it this way for now. So the idea is that we have the opportunity to co-create the reality that we desire by communicating directly with our source self. Now, the point of my presentation today is that the entire universe is intelligent, and we are intelligent beings within it. And as such, we can communicate with the intelligence of the universe. In doing so, we can be an active part of creating not just our reality, but the collective reality by projecting our intentions into it and communicating directly with the intelligence of the architects of the universe. In the beginning, there was an infinite sea of pure consciousness. And within that infinite sea, the one great self awoke. And when this one great self awoke, it reflected upon itself and created a mirror image. And in a moment of self-recognition, the Holy Spirit was created and the divine Trinity came into being. And they rested in a perfect state of divine bliss in infinity, but then were stirred to create. And they knew they couldn't create within the fetters of infinity. And so, knowing this process of reflection and projection, they reflected upon themselves and created an inverse pyramid. This created the first shape of the Platonic solids, which is the octahedron or air. And so from infinity, creating a portal into eternity, they could create the first perfect realm, the central universe at the core of creation. From this central universe, the divine Trinity was able to express itself as 12. 3 in each of 4 directions, which became the first 12 archetypes, or the 12 personalities of the zodiac, and all of the eternal souls who were created in this perfect realm, settled in the eternal now moment, also projected themselves as 12 personalities. And this is an existential reality. The central universe where everything is created in its perfect divine blueprint. These beings had a stir to create in a different way, to know thyself in a different way, beyond existing and being and into doing and experiencing. And as such, projected a mental construct called space-time, into which they could project 12 aspects of themselves into each of 12 dimensions for 144 soul extensions. In this way, they could experience thyself and also experience love by reflecting upon themselves.
Suzanne, excuse me, are you trying to change your slides?
No. Not
Okay.
at the moment.
All right, good.
I was trying to create a slideshow, but that really wasn't happening. So I'm just going to have to go through the slides by clicking on them. Thank you, dear. And so as such, we are one of these fractals that exist in this particular timeline. But because we have the ability to communicate with our other soul aspects, because we have the ability to communicate with the source soul, source self projecting us, then we have the ability to co-create our reality, to create the most positive outcomes that we wish. And so, what is the dimensional ascent as an ascending avatar? And that's what we are, because we have awoken. So we descended into this third dimensional reality and have had the opportunity to experience it from a third dimensional perspective within the third dimensional matrix. But those of us participating in this conference today have awoken out of that entrapment and enslavement within the 3D cube. We've blown the lid off that 3D cube and now are seeking a higher way of living and being beyond it. So in the moment that we awaken and we start seeking the light, seeking a higher dimensional way of perceiving the reality, we become an ascending avatar. Our source self, who's playing this virtual reality game with us, rejoices because its avatar is leveling up. And that's the point of the virtual reality game, is to level up. And so we would call that evolution. And so those of us who have awakened are not now on a path of evolving consciously and intentionally. We are on an accelerated evolution plan and are moving through that transitionary fourth dimension, the realm of choice. And here in this realm of choice, we are making a choice, a conscious choice to serve the light selflessly. For those who aren't done learning the lessons of the third dimensional duality, they may choose to continue to learn the lessons through separation and suffering. But those of us who have awakened on our journey are done learning in that way. And we have a desire to learn in a higher way through unity, peace, and harmony. And so when we awaken, we start to go through a series of initiations. And let's remember that there are individual initiations and collective initiations. And so this is what we've been experiencing for the last several years here on planet Earth, is these initiations that we're going through. And we can imagine that these initiations are also like examinations. And so when we agree to serve the light selflessly, we are confronted with these tests, if you will, to see how selfless we are in our intention to serve the light of love. And I just feel that these initiations are so important, and why I really wanted to go through these initiations today. And in this way, we can consciously and intentionally be aware of ourselves and the collective, moving through them so that we can move through them successfully and effectively. And in doing so, with each initiation, we take another leap in consciousness. I'm presenting today 7 initiations, which do align with the 7 chakras, the 7 ascending levels of consciousness. And so we can even imagine then that these initiations do represent a level of consciousness. The first initiation is the awakening. And with the awakening, oftentimes in the root chakra, we are being challenged to take care of our physical well-being, and we become more health conscious, and we explore holistic ways of improving our health and well-being. On the second initiation, we become more aware of the emotional body. And in this initiation, we start looking to our soul, to our spirit for guidance on how we interact with others, on how we react to the situations that we're confronted with. And our ability to set aside our ego and to take the higher road in all of our interactions and reactions shows that we are intentionally and consciously evolving and making progress on our spiritual path. We are done learning through chaos and drama, and our goal is to transcend that and to create harmony and peace for ourselves and others. The third initiation has to do with mastery over the mental body. And so many of us have opened our crown portal to allow advanced intelligence, higher intelligence from higher dimensional spheres and our higher selves and spirit guides to flow through us. We start to have this insatiable curiosity to know all that we possibly can about religions, spirituality, ancient civilizations, science, biology, quantum physics. And if you're anything like me, then you have many, many books on all of these topics, and stimulating our mental body becomes very important as we start to absorb advanced knowledge and wisdom. And we may even go into meditation where we start accessing higher intelligence, activating our third eye, opening the third eye to access the Akashic records so that we can access any information and intelligence from the field that we wish. The fourth initiation has to do with the etheric body and a soul merge, whereby all thoughts, ideas, intuitions, and inspirations come directly from the soul. The ego has been crucified on the cross of matter, and the initiate is totally dedicated to the spiritual life and to the spiritualization of the collective soul. They may feel compelled to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness. And so this is where many of us are at today. We feel called to raise the vibration of the collective consciousness. We are dedicated to the spiritualization of the collective soul. And so we are doing our individual work on our evolutionary path, making progress on our spiritual path. But when we awaken and we start to experience the higher vibrations of love, when we start to experience the inner peace and ecstatic bliss of the spiritual path, we feel compelled through the love in our heart for all of our brothers and sisters to awaken them so that they too can experience that love vibration, the divine light, the inner peace, and the ecstatic bliss. And as we do, it becomes more intense for ourselves and others. And this is the fourth initiation. The fifth initiation has to do with the monadic merger, merging one's consciousness with the whole soul, as a reunification with the soul's fragmented aspects takes place multi-dimensionally. And so many of us feel called to reunite with our multi-dimensional selves in other timelines and in other dimensions. And this is work that I am very much focused on and facilitate many multi-dimensional soul reunions with my clients, because I think this is really a key to the fifth initiation and 5D. Especially in the third dimensional timelines where we have many fragmented souls experiencing different timelines, because you see, we are karmically entangled with all of these other soul aspects. And if we want to ascend out of the third dimension and into the next higher incarnational dimension, the fifth dimension, it's important for us to resolve the karmic entanglements that we may have with other 3D soul aspects, and other 3D timelines. So we always begin with past life regressions that allow us to release those karmic attachments with other 3D soul aspects so that we can return to wholeness and ascend as a whole being. Also, I have realized through these multidimensional soul reunions that when I merge myself or a client with their higher dimensional aspects, that it ignites dormant DNA, because these higher aspects are more evolved and advanced and have more of their DNA online. And so this is a powerful way to activate dormant DNA and also to bring more of our brain online. The sixth initiation does have to do with ascension and becoming an ascended master with our light body fully activated. It is the attainment of Christ consciousness and the return of Christ on earth. And so many times we've talked about the return of Christ or the second coming. But we know what it really is the return of Christ consciousness on earth so that we can come together and create heaven on earth. Christ came to this planet to let us know that we are all sons and daughters of God, of the one infinite creator. And we are being called as sons and daughters now to come together in Christ consciousness to create heaven on earth. These and greater things you shall do, Jesus Christ told us. And so that's what we're coming together to do now, is to become the embodiment of Christ consciousness. The initiate has absolved of all karma and embodies the realization that God is experiencing through them as them. And this is the full self-realization of I am that I am. Yes, God is experiencing through you as you. Divine consciousness flows through you. And when you say, I am, and I am that I am, that is the full God realization of the divine within, and a powerful way to activate the divine within. The seventh initiation represents a full merge of the oversoul with the divine source. The initiate is plugged into the omni-brain, or one great mind of the one great self, and receives and transmits divine light as source codes and divine love as source energy. This is the highest initiation one can take and remain embodied on the earth plane. And so this is the seventh chakra that does give us that connection with the divine source of all that is. And when we open that golden crown portal, we can open to receive that divine love and light pouring into us to activate our golden light body. We can imagine that these source codes, these advanced codes of creation, are contained within this source light, because light carries information. And so not only does this light increase our light quotient, raising our love light frequency, but it carries information, it carries advanced codes of creation, which activates our dormant DNA. This is the Ultimate Star Seeds Conference. And so I wanted to bring in the galactics and say that sometimes we get a little help leveling up. Many of us here have had contact with our galactic brothers and sisters. I myself had a missing time experience, 4 hours of missing time with 2 friends, where we were shown later that we had been taken aboard an Arcturian ship. We were greeted by our Arcturian brothers and sisters, shown around the ship, and then taken into a room where we were downloaded with advanced codes of creation, where we were downloaded with higher intelligence, gifts, skills, and abilities, all so that we could be part of the awakening and ascension of humanity. It's always about service. And so when we returned, I discovered that I had been given the gift to see interdimensionally. And I realized that this ability to see into these interdimensional realms, to see who I was being on these other dimensions, where I was, how I was serving, I then also realized that I could do this for others, and that it became an important part of activating dormant DNA and also initiating people for the ascension through these different levels of initiation, allowing them to then level up. And so our galactic brothers and sisters are here to help advance us and evolve us in order so that we can be of greater service to humanity. And so we always remember that we are humble servants, and that becoming more advanced and evolved is only for service to humanity, right? And it doesn't make us elevated in any other way except as someone who may be more gifted to support others in the awakening and the ascension process. And so I wanted to include this graphic because I think this is just so relevant to what and how our benevolent galactic brothers and sisters can take us aboard these ships and activate us and advance and evolve us so that we can ascend into the fifth dimension. And so this is what we can do in these multidimensional soul reunions, is to facilitate evolutionary leaps into higher consciousness by reuniting with our higher self. And so I wanted to offer this diagram of what the multidimensional soul reunions can look like. When I take a client through these, I am able to see who they are being on these different star systems, and even the roles that they may be serving there. This was all downloaded to me after my missing time experience. And this is what I was shown about some of the different dimensions and some of the different star races that reside on these different dimensional planes. I was also shown that in the 10th dimension, we become our rainbow light body, and there we are spiraling as vibrating rainbow bodies of light. And this is how our source self is seen. And then in the 11th dimension, we are actually a symphony of sound. And so we are still our own unique symphony, but this is the word. And then in the 12th dimension, this really being the eternal realm. And so it was very fascinating when I realized that in the 3rd dimension, we are only using 10% of our brain, but with each of these additional dimensional ascents, we pick up another 10%. And by the time we get to the 12th dimension, we are 100% of our perfect divine blueprint, whole, perfect, and complete. And so this allows us to take quantum jumps into higher dimensions with these soul reunions. And so this is a powerful visualization process that allows us to stream consciousness with these higher dimensions and what many people call quantum jumping. In these quantum jumps, we ignite dormant DNA, download source codes, and bring more of the brain online. We are biophotonic beings, and I became very fascinated by biophotonics early on. And I know our brother Bruce Lipton has done a lot of work in this realm. And science is shown that we are literally light beings, and light contains information. And so as biophotonic beings encoded with DNA codes, we have a specific code. We have a unique frequency signature that allows the universal intelligence to identify us, to track us, to locate us. It's like a radio station. And so we might think of a radio station like KQED, and let's say the code is 98.7. Okay, this is how we are identified, with our own unique code. And so the universal intelligence can identify us. Also, every thought, word, and action is being recorded. This becomes our Akashic records. So every thought, word, and action is stored in what we would call an archive. And so this is something to remember when we are redirecting our thoughts, words, and actions into the highest reflection of divine love and light, right? Because it's all being recorded in the archives. Okay, and so this is the records of our incarnations. And of course, we know many people who are Akashic record readers, right? That's what I'm doing when I'm doing a past life regression, or when I'm doing a multidimensional soul reunion, is reading the person's Akashic records, because it has all been recorded. And all of these realities, as we know, are occurring simultaneously in one eternal now moment. So the movies are actually playing, and that's why we can watch them. So I just kind of wanted to geek out for a moment on some scientific revelations about DNA. And so for me, science has been a really important part of my spiritual journey. And I actually created a television network called SciSpy.tv, and it's merging science and spirituality to give us answers to the greatest mysteries of creation. And I have to say that Dr. J.J. Hurtak, who has been very inspirational to me on my spiritual journey, says in the introduction to the Keys of Enoch, when humanity realizes that science and spirituality are one, they will ascend. And so that's why I feel it's so important when we start to throw around words like DNA and activating dormant DNA and DNA codes, that we have some understanding actually of the scientific explanation of DNA. And then as we start to understand more about DNA, we realize the divine intelligence within it. We realize through triplets, or what is called codons, that triplets is the divine trinity expressing itself. We talk about nucleotide bases, and this is the divine trinity expressing itself as 4. We talk about the 12 archetypes and how the divine trinity as 3 is expressing itself in all 4 directions to give us 12. But here with DNA codes, we can see how the divine trinity as triplets or codons is expressing itself as 4, and 4 to the power of 3 gives us 64. This is divine intelligence in action. The 64 I Ching hexagram, which sort of looks like a computer program, but studying the I Ching hexagram is an incredibly powerful way to ignite dormant DNA within you. Also, the 64 keys of Enoch. And when J.J. Hurtak was ascended by Enoch and taken into the presence of Metatron, he was downloaded with burning scrolls containing fire letters and key codes. 64 keys. in the 60 keys of Enoch, he reveals 54 keys. And now, over the past couple years, he has released one more key at a time, 55, 56, 57, and dedicated one book to each one. I highly recommend the Keys of Enoch and these additional 10 books to activate your DNA with these very activating fire letters and key codes. Can DNA really evolve? Well, I have discovered that even the scientific community, within the scientific community, the concept of the evolution of the genetic code is widely accepted. And they have been doing many experiments in a lab environment where they are working with the DNA to experiment with its ability to evolve, and have confirmed that yes, DNA can evolve by activating these dormant DNA codes. And I thought this was interesting, as J.J. Hertog writes a book about the 54 keys and then only releases the other 10 as humanity's evolutionary status is ready for them. They were able to determine the sequences of 54 out of 64 codons in their experiences, in their experiments, excuse me. And I also thought this was interesting, this messenger RNA displayed in the level of 7 codons, and we know the significance of the number 7. So yes, DNA strands can be reignited by streaming consciousness with higher intelligence. The universe is intelligent, and you are an intelligent being communicating with the universe every moment of every day. What if our communication is intentional and directed? If you want to be part of co-creating heaven on earth, let the higher intelligences of the universe co-creating with us know your intentions, and the universe will co-create with you. Project with intention those outcomes you wish to see, not just in your own life, but for the collective consciousness, always serving the highest good for all, and it shall manifest in the reality. Light is energy, energy is information, and information is consciousness. I see that I am running out of time. I teach all of this in a virtuality masterclass that is available on my website. And it's a fun 6-week course where we dive deeper all into how you, as your source self, through this lens, create the holographic web of reality, and how there is a source world that is being projected to create our world, and as such we are a reflection of it. I go deeper into how this world is being projected from an 8th dimensional reality, and how our own selves are being projected from the 9th dimension. And then I go into these upper chakras, which I feel are really important for your soul's ascension. These higher chakras giving you a greater ability to plug into the neural network of the galactic mind, right? The ability to access the one great mind of the one great self. So I would like to end today by sharing this prayer called the Ascension by Shannara. And so if you like, you can close your eyes while I read this beautiful ascension prayer. I feel my God flame touch my brow, of love eternal now. I raise my eyes, and lo, I see my own great God self over me. A dazzling cloud envelops all. I hear my own God presence call. I feel a surge of love's great might. I enter deep, its breath, its light. I see within this pulsing flame. I listen and hear my secret name. I feel the glow, the great flame breath. I am the victor over death. I stand forth, free ascended now. To my heart's light, all things do bow. I am a being of cause alone, and that cause love, the sacred tone. I pour out life, I lift, I raise. My heart overflows and sings its praise. My power strengthens and inspires. My great light rays are God's own fires. I am a sun, my love its light. All else grows dim, earth lost to sight. I know I am God the One, the source, the great, great central sun. Bless you and thank you, my beautiful brothers and sisters, for inviting me to be part of this beautiful conference today. I just wanted to share my website, Suzanne Ross, transcendence.com. My books, Wake Up and Rise Up and Lighten Up, is being released next year. It's the Up trilogy. I do offer live and online sessions and personal retreats here in Sedona. Please tune into my TV network, SciSpy.tv. We have 8 channels and over 40 shows. And I invite you to come to my Sedona Ascension Retreat. Please visit SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. We have an incredible lineup of beings who have dedicated their life to the awakening and ascension of humanity. And our event includes not only presentations and performances, but also many workshops and tours into sacred vortex sites, a lot of retail and food vendors. So, and also George Norrie live show. So please go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com and you can use the code Ascension10 to register now. Thank you so much. I send you all of the love in my heart. Many blessings. Namaste.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for that beautiful presentation. So profound, and that beautiful closing prayer. Really amazing. Thank you for all of your work.
Welcome.
And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of you guys coming to Suzanne's Sedona conference in March.
After 3 years of having to produce the Portal to Ascension conference online, we have been waiting for this moment. The Portal to Ascension conference is returning live and in person. Join us at the Marina Village in San Diego, California, April 21st to 23rd, 2023. As massive shifts are happening on the planet and hidden truths are being uncovered, we are piecing together the fragmented parts of our existence and timeline. At Portal to Ascension, we are dedicated to full circle awareness of the truth of who we are and remembrance of our connection to the cosmos. This is showtime. There is no holding back. Now is the time for us to harmonize the frequencies and create unity and peace on Earth. We are deprogramming from an outdated matrix system, re-educating and remembering an inherent truth that connects us all. As we come together, we activate our truest potentials, individual gifts, and collective resolve. We are ushering a whole new reality that we know is possible and is waiting for us to embrace it. Join founder Neil Gore and the entire Portal to Ascension team with hosts Alan Steinfeld, Michelle Anderson, and Joan of Angels over these 3 days, April 21st to 23rd, 2023. We will experience musical performances by Larissa Stowe and the Shakti Tribe, Vox Angeles, Share the Light, Admiral Apollo, and Torquemji. This conference features incredible luminaries such as JJ and Desiree Hurtak, Adam Apollo, Carolyn Corey, Robert Schock, Linda Moulton Howe, Robert Edward Grant, Barbara Lamb, and many more. Register now at ascensionconference.com. It is time for humanity to awaken.